urban fiction, urban romance, and women's fiction. I have read so many of these books and they will not let me go. So I am going to be sharing the unforgettable favorites of mine. My name is Raquel. I talk about all things Black books. Welcome and welcome back. So, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing 10 books that left a mark on me, stories that I think about, characters I love, and authors who almost never miss. Some of them, well, all of them, I've talked about before. So, I feel like they deserve a second shout out. Let's get into it. Book number one is Misunderstood by Lucinda John. Misunderstood is a book about a young couple who is in high school and they are having this long distance relationship. Um, they start out in the projects. The mother of the young lady, whose name is Charmaine, decides that she is going to move to a nicer neighborhood. She's going to get out of the projects. They're going to go to a nicer school. She's going to, take care of her kids. She has never worked a day in her life. And she loves luxury items. So they're going to move away. She's going to get a 9 to 5. She's not going to do her scamming and scheming thing. And they're going to be a good little family. That's what she says, but that's not what actually happens. This book was really great. It is like these teenagers are really adults in teenage bodies. I think that's what I found funny about it because they don't act like high school students. They act like adults, and the only difference is they are teenagers and they go to school and their parents are around. But this was a really, really good read. I loved it. I laughed. It was funny. And if you're looking for something that is funny and yeah, just obscenely crazy, this would be the book. Lucinda John has some really good books that I totally enjoyed. As a matter of fact, I came across another one that I want to read soon. Then we have When We by Casey Mills. When We by Casey Mills is a book that I will never stop recommending. So this one is a romance. It is about a young lady named Zuri and a ex-football player named Lawton Davis. So Lawton Davis is a six-time championship winner in the NFL. He has been injured and he can no longer play football. Now that he can no longer play football, he has lost his mind. He is reckless. His attitude is horrible. He starts fights and brawls in bars and uses women like disposable napkins. He is a horrid person. He is on the verge of being dropped by his management company. He's already been through 3 publicists. And so they are sending Zuri in to get him in check. Zuri is coming in to let him know that his football career is over, but it's only playing football. There are other things he can do connected to football. And Zuri is a publicist. She wants to become an agent. And so the promise is that if she gets him in check, she can then step into that agent hat. And so she goes in to get him together, and she finds out that he's really nasty. He has a bad attitude. She finds out all these horrible things about him. The thing is, she wants to be an agent, and she is good at her job to the point where he's a problem, but he's not a problem that she can't fix. I enjoyed this story so much, and their romance, the romance part of it is so sweet. She finds out that he has this trauma, like some family secrets type stuff going on in his life, and she helps him out with that. It is a really good story. I love the layer of the family secrets. Otherwise, it would just be a regular romance. But that is what kind of tips it to that extra 5 mark. And then next we have June, which is by K. Michelle. K. Nicole. I'm sorry, I don't know where I got K. Michelle from. It's by K. Nicole. So June is a police officer. June is a female police officer with a partner. Well, she's a detective and he's a cop, but for some reason they're partnered together. There are these three guys, Braun, Croc, and Fox. Croc has betrayed his friends and now he's unalive. Um, Braun and Croc Braun, Croc, and Box grew up together from little kids. So now Croc is unalive. The police shows up and they want to know if they know what happened to their friend. So instead of Braun answering the questions about what's going on with his friend, he's flirting with June, asking her out on a date, telling her she's beautiful, all these different things. So June feels like, okay, I'm not going to get anywhere by asking these questions. I may as well go out on a date with him. Now, what I love about this particular story is that June is not swayed by his BDE. And a lot of the books, that's what happens. Women are swayed by that. They get knocked off course. They forget what their goal is. Now you're following this dude, but not June. All throughout whatever this so-called relationship they have, June has not lost sight of her goal. And she has to remind him a couple of times, but she doesn't remind him by telling him. She reminds him by doing her job. And he's like, what? But yeah, it's really, really good. So June is one of those books you want to pick up. It's really short, but it packs a punch. And then we have Maybe for the Summer by Aubrey Penn, which I took about a year or more to read this because I don't know, I just didn't think it was going to be good. And I don't know how I thought that, why I thought that, because this was a very, very good book. It is about a young man named Julius who is a rapper, but him and his entourage just does too much all the time. They are, just reckless, breaking up bars, having fights, just doing the most everywhere they go. And so their management company has already warned them several times, you cannot do this. So the last time they do it, they drop them. And Julius has other plans. He doesn't just want to be a rapper. He wants to take this thing full circle because he is taking care of his family. Part of his entourage is his brother, his cousin, his friends, so he wants to be more than just a rapper. Now you have Daisha. Daisha works in corporate America and she is good at her job. She's about to get a promotion. Well, she wants this promotion, and so does another coworker of hers. Her coworker stabs her in the back, takes the promotion, and Deja gets fired. Deja goes home to her parents. Her parents have a concierge built business. So, in order for them to get their business out of the red, they have to do a good job with this client that they have. And Deja doesn't know who the client is until she actually gets there. So, Julius and his entourage has decided to take a vacation in a place I believe is called Eastover. Sounds kind of like a resort to me. I don't really know that, but it sounds like a resort. And so Deja has to go to Eastover to take care of these clients. And she goes there, but not only does she take care of them, she corrals these rowdy people and gets them straightened out so that they're not going out, causing a ruckus, beating up people, and just, you know, uh, doing all this way out stuff when they go out. She helps Julius to up his business. Not only is he a rapper, he is now a business owner, and that is due to Deja. She helps him. He had a trauma early on in life that causes him really bad insomnia and anxiety. She helps him with that. Like Deja is, they say he's the man. Deja is that girl. Like Deja is doing it all, and she doesn't fall off her pivot either. She is still on her goal. She's getting it done, and Julius is really attracted to her, so he's trying his best to get at her, but she is focused on her job until something happens, and they do wind up cultivating a friendship. But he's got some people on his side that aren't really on his side, and so they have to work that thing out. This is just a really, really great book. I loved the fact that they added the anxiety and insomnia and anxiety. I love those extra layers because I feel like there are people who read because of some of these things, because they can't sleep, because they have anxiety, because they need peace, because they need to escape. And so to actually add that in some of the books, it lets you know that you're not alone. Like somebody else is going through this and somebody else understands, like, I'm not crazy. This is just something that's happening. So I really love when that happens in the books, and it's on top. It's not layered under the bottom where you have to really analyze the book in order to see it. So yeah, Only for the Summer was one of my favorite books. After um The Art of Hood Love, then I fell in love with Only for the Summer. And now I've come across Tangled Hearts. So that is my new favorite at this time. All of these are really good books that I truly enjoyed. I would give each and every one of them a 5 star. So Tangled Hearts is by Evelyn Latrice. It is a slow burn. It is about a group of friends. So you have Hove and Nicole, who are really good friends. They came to be friends very early on as little kids, like maybe as young as 6 years old. They both have parents who misused them and mistreated them. Um, Hove has been physically and psychologically uh, misused, and Nicole has been misused, abandoned, and verbally abused. So her father is an addict, and Hove's mother is an abuser. Then Hove's got his best friend. I can't remember his name. We'll just call him James. James is the boyfriend to Nicole. So Nicole has these two people caring for her. And then Nicole has a best friend, and we'll just call her Nene. And so the four of these people are just, really, really close. Nicole and her friend are still in school. The two boys have dropped out. James has to take care of his sister and his grandmother. His sister needed somewhere to live, so he put her with his grandmother, and his grandmother takes care of his sister, and then he takes care of the finances. Him and Hove share an apartment, and then Nicole lives with her father, and her friend Nene lives with her parents. So all four of these people have, different things that are happening with each one of them, and they support each other. But there is something that happens that shifts the dynamics of the friendship. And that's when it gets really good, because I was just kind of like, what's going to happen in the end? But because it's a slow burn, you have to wait and wait and wait. And there were some really interesting things happening throughout the time that I'm reading, and I'm waiting to find out what I really want to know. There's some really good stuff happening in between. And I think that's my problem with slow burns. Once I get in my head, I want to know something. Almost everything between where I figured that I want to know something and that thing happens, almost everything in between is, I don't really care. But in this book, all the in betweens were really, really good. Got some surprises in there. Things were happening that I didn't know were happening until you get to that part. This was a great book, and it is currently one of my faves. So I've got a few more coming up. And if you're enjoying the video, go ahead and hit the like button. And we'll get back into the rest of the books. So the next one is Finally Famous by Lady Nisha. I adored this book. It is about a young man and his friends. They are small children. I don't know. I want to say like maybe 9 or 10 or 8, and they are always talking about when Rollo finally becomes famous, because Rollo is a rapper. Even as a little boy, he's rapping. And he has this group of friends that he hangs around with, and they're always talking about what's going to happen when he gets famous. One of his friends does something and winds up in jail. While he's in jail, Rollo finally becomes famous. He gets out of jail, and now he's got to deal with how he feels about Rollo being famous, how he feels about Rollo's new friends. Rollo is now really the man, even though he kind of was that as a little boy, but it's more pronounced because he has money to back it up. And Rollo is a very nice, generous guy. And so when he said he was going to bring his homeboys with him, he really brought them with him. And so when his friend gets out of jail, he brings him in as well. But him and one of Rollo's sidekicks or friends or whatever they are doesn't get along, and so that's a little bit of friction, and he feels some kind of way about Rollo being finally famous and him being in jail, and all this stuff. So Rollo has to deal with some betrayal, some disloyalty, some lies. Like, he's got a lot of stuff going on, and it's kind of funny because it's like, why? I do everything I can for everybody. Nobody's doing anything for me, except for his sister and a young lady that he meets named Taylor. Now, Taylor has her own thing going on. She's hooked up to this guy that she's been with for a while, and this guy is divorced or separated. He's either divorced or separated. Either way it goes, she's still got to deal with his ex-wife or his wife, even though they lived, Taylor and the guy lived together. She's still got to deal with his wife. And she is also stepmom to his kids without being married to him, which I think is crazy as all outdoors. But that's Taylor thing. So she's dealing with that. And they're both dealing with these two different issues. They meet each other. They come together. I love the story. It is great. I would venture to even say that I like it even more than I like Losing Control. And then we have Juice by Nicole. Now, Juice is a part of a 3-book series. It is a standalone inside a series. You have Mahogany, Juice, and Carmen. So you can read it without reading everything, and it is a full book. But if you read all 3 books, then of course you get a bigger picture. So basically, this book is about this guy named Porter Beve who loses his family and sort of hibernates. He comes out of hibernation. He meets this young lady named Mahogany. He has a record company. He cultivates her career into her being a huge star, and now his company, now that he's out of hiding, he's got all this energy. He's putting it into his business. His business is getting bigger. He needs an assistant. That is where Juice comes in. Juice is related to somebody that he knows, and so he gives him a chance. Juice doesn't know anything about the music business. He is just a young guy who's interested in music and getting his first shot. Porter does not have a lot of patience. He is not necessarily kind. He is not going to be, walking you, holding your hand, walking you through. You need to get it. You need to get it now and remember it. And that is Juice. He goes from being an unknowledgeable intern to a actual running the company to eventually running his own company. And that is like the most amazing part about it for me. Juice also has a girlfriend that, because he's sort of on call, like Porter can call him in the middle of the night. He can let him go home and call him 30 minutes after he let him go home. So this causes some problems in his relationship. And the one thing Juice doesn't know how to do is regulate work and home. And it's possibly because of the kind of job he has. At least that's part of it. The other part is people love people with money and power, and so he's attracting some people to him, and it's not sitting right with his girl, and so they have to figure out what are they going to be doing. I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the whole series, but of the series, it was between Juice and Carmen, and I think Juice I enjoyed just a little bit more. And then we have Till I Say When by Natisha Rayner. Natisha Rayner is one of my favorite authors. Like I said, this is one of those authors who rarely miss. This one is called Till I Say When. It is about a young lady named Wonder who is in this super toxic relationship with this guy. She keeps having this traumatic event over and over again until she can't take it anymore, and she decides to leave. By the time she decides to leave, she has become addicted to this drug. She's an entrepreneur, so she has her own business, and her family doesn't know she's addicted. She is hiding it very well. After her and her ex-boyfriend breaks up, she winds up witnessing this act, an illegal act, and somebody sees her witnessing it. And he tells her basically that you're going to do what I need you to do for as long as I need you to, till I say when. And if you don't, I'm going to say you did this act or whatever. And so she decides to go ahead and do it, which is very dangerous to her because it is against her ex-boyfriend for this other guy. They are rival gang members. And so that could be dangerous for her, being with this one guy who was in a gang and now she's over here messing around with this other gang. That could be very, very dangerous for her. And so not only is she dealing with that, she's also dealing with the addiction. And so it is really a good book. I love that they put the addiction in there. You can actually get some symptoms. Like if you don't know if a person is addicted, you can see her symptoms. So, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I enjoyed this book. Next, we have All the Smoke by Talion. This was a great book. I remember where I was when I was reading it, what I was doing. I used to go to the gym and listen to this book. I listened to this book in, I want to say, about 3 days because I would only listen to it while I was at the gym. And I would literally not leave the gym if I was in a good part. Like I would be at the gym for a couple hours and just working out, reading this book, not wanting to leave because once I left, I was going to end the book. So this one is about these guys who, just hanging out. And it's this girl who goes to school and she keeps, walking by them, coming and going to school. This one guy, gets her attention and they build a rapport with each other. She has a friend that she hangs out with who is not like her. Like she's a good girl. Her friend is not a good girl. And so they hang out and spend time together. So she starts spending time with the guy he comes over to the library and see her sometimes or whatever. And her friend is actually jealous. Now, I don't know if she's jealous of her friend for some other reason than the guy, but I do feel like she is jealous. So the friend invites her to a party. I can't remember these people's names. This was, I want to say, a year or two ago when I was reading this book. I don't remember, but I don't remember their names. I can tell you that. And she invites her to a party. She gets assaulted in the party, and she is made to think that it's the guy that she had built this friendship with. So she goes off to college, doesn't come back home for years and years, bumps into the guy, and the guy's like, "Hey, where you been?" Like, he's happy to see her. And she's like, "You assaulted me, like, get away from me." And he's like, "Me? I didn't do anything to you." And so they have to go through the whole finding out what happened, who assaulted her, the result of the assault, like, and the guy, him, he has a child who has an illness, and then he has this horrible co-parenting situation, and so it's a whole bunch of mess, but it's good. I enjoyed this book. And then last but not least, we have Read the Room by Mel Dahl. Now, I did a review on this book, and it may have seemed like I didn't like this book, but I really enjoyed this book. The question in that video was basically, I was saying, when is it a good when is it a good time to have your children around people you don't know? And that was just something that, came out while I was reading this book. It wasn't intended to offend anybody or anything like that. I don't think it offended anybody. Nobody said anything, but I'm just saying that that wasn't the point. Like, my brain does double time on certain stuff. And when it came to this book, the one thing that kind of stood out to me was just a couple of little things that happened to the main female character's son. So you have the main female character who works these two jobs. One of the jobs is at like a sandwich shop. In the sandwich shop, there are these girls who are always there bullying her. She has a son who is at a daycare. It turns out that all of these people are going to be connected. So the owner of the sandwich shop, the girl who's bullying her, the babysitter, everybody is connected. So one day she witnesses something that she shouldn't see. She gets scared and she goes to pick up her baby in the middle of the night. She's like, "I'm out of here. I gotta go." Because she knows that, if they catch her, they're going to want to harm her. So she's trying to get her baby and get him in the car and take off or whatever. And then these other people come along and kidnap her. Now, this is a good kidnapping, or a nice kidnapping, if there's a such thing. So basically, they kidnap her and they take her, and she's like, I don't, she wants to know where she is, who these people are. "You're going to hurt me. Don't hurt my son." All of this anxiety. And, she's like literally going crazy because she's witnessed this thing, and now she's kidnapped. She didn't get a chance to get away. She's second guessing all of her actions. Should she have went sooner? If she didn't work there, or if she wasn't there, then so, just all the stuff, right? And so, like I said, it turns out to be a nice kidnapping. And I didn't make that up. She did. But it is a really, really good book. She is not kidnapped to be harmed. So it just was a really good book. I totally did enjoy the book. So that was my 10 of some of my favorite books right now. I wanted to add The Art of Hood Love, but The Art of Hood Love is, a series, and so I didn't kind of want to put a series in there. I'm not sure that you can read The Art of Hood Love without reading it as a series. I think if you read like book 2 or 3, you would be lost, because I think book 2 picks up on book one. So yeah, I didn't want to add any series, even though I have some series and I might do one with some series. But these are 10 books that I really, really enjoyed. If you have not read them, I suggest you pick them up. And if you have read them, let me know which one you really enjoyed the most. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to do all of the YouTube things: like, comment, share, subscribe. Until next time, see you soon.